What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Winning Picks Weekly. I am your host this week, Greg Albert, and as always with me, my right-hand man, Chip Murphy, ChipMurphy7 on Twitter. What's going on?
I'm good, man. Week 11. Yeah, I can't believe that season going by this fast. Yeah. Big games last week. Little disappointing, but I'm happy college
Yeah.
basketball is here. Yeah, fun to watch games. Disappointing games for us if you bet on Tennessee, which I did, and to win the national championship, of course. But
Ugh.
yeah, still a fun game to watch, I guess. But I don't know. It was a good week, and I'm happy for week 11, and I'm happy college basketball is here. We were just talking about that.
Yep.
But yeah, it's still some good games this week. Not as good as last week. You had to build up for that one, but we got some good games this week too.
Yeah, and that's what's fun about college football is you just never know the slate might look like, okay, there's like 4 or 5 good games, and all of a sudden you have crazy endings, crazy plays. That's why I love college football.
Yeah, there's a game you got to flip on because it's not something you expected to watch at all that day.
Yeah, 20-point underdog is about to win outright, whatever it is. So, yeah, I mean, to your point, too, college basketball is back. We got World Cup this weekend, I think, kicking off on Sunday. Or maybe that's next weekend. We got
NBA's picking up.
NBA,
Freaking
hockey.
Utah Jazz won't lose.
It's
I
crazy.
thought by now they'd be losing. Yeah, my God.
It's crazy. They went from tanking to contending in 2
Put in
weeks.
your Lowry Markkanen most improved player bets right now.
Yes.
Or how about Russell Westbrook is the favorite for sixth man of the year? If you want to be a sucker, put in that bet.
It's disgusting. That's an absolutely disgusting bet.
What a bunch of suckers putting in that money.
I can't imagine. We'll be talking about basketball once we get done with this football season. To your point, week 11 here, so we're getting towards the end of college football. It's sad, but there's a great week in front of us. I have a feeling. I've been down the last 2 weeks, still up on the season. Let's see what my standings are for the season. 81-72, 4-9 2 weeks ago, 6-9 last week. Need to have a bounce back week here. I want to finish on a positive note. Want to finish the regular season out up units. So let's get it going here, Chip. Let's start with our 3 best bets of the weekend. And why don't you start us off with your first one that you're looking at?
Okay. Now, I never thought I would say this about UConn.
Okay.
But they're one of my best bets because I think they're now either 8-1 or 8-2 against the spread. I think they're 8-2 against the spread. And one of the best teams in the nation against the spread. So I'm taking UConn plus 14 against Liberty at home at noon. I don't know. There's something about this team, man. Mora's getting like coach of the year buzz.
Yep.
He's done a fantastic job. In his first year, he had obviously players leave, which who knows how much that means from a bad team, players leaving. But,
True.
You go into the transfer portal, bring in a bunch of guys. It's really impressive what he's done. I don't think anybody could have predicted that in his first year, they would have 5 wins. Went away from being bowl eligible. So I know Liberty's exceeded expectations, and everybody's saying like, Hugh Freeze got another extension, could be going to the SEC, but I don't know, 14 points with the way they've been playing, and they're at home. I know they're probably going to be a popular pick this week, UConn, because now everybody's on them. But I like them. I don't know what the money is off the top of my head, who's on. I'm sure it's on UConn. It has to be a home dog. But yeah, they're one of my locks. It's just I don't know. It's a cool one. If you're betting that game, how do you not bet UConn?
Yeah, I saw it. It stuck out to me. Like you said, 2 touchdowns and a hook at home getting points. UConn's looked really good. Jim Mora has been impressive. I had Utah State as a lock my first week playing UConn, and I watched that game, was impressed with UConn. They really kept it close with Utah State. Turns out Utah State's not very good, but UConn is pretty good. To your point, against the spread, 8-2 on the season. Very good. I won't tell you what the public money is because that's what kept me away. So I'm staying away from this game. I did like UConn until I saw the betting, so I'm staying away from it. But 14.5 at home, I like that pick. I really do. My first pick of the weekend is in the noon slate as well. I'm going back to the well on it because I had them a couple weeks ago. It worked out great. I think I had them last week. I don't know if it was a best bet or not, but it did not work out so great last week. I'm going back to Illinois. I like Illinois -6 at home. This is a combo best bet and spite pick because I absolutely hate Purdue after what they did last week.
Purdue, what a disappointment
I
Purdue
mean,
is.
they made Iowa's defense look like Georgia. I mean, it
Well,
was
Iowa's offense, you mean?
yeah,
Iowa's
well
offense looked
both.
competent.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
both.
I know their defense stinks. Cuse lit them up. They made Garrett Schrader look like freaking Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
So their defense really sucks.
So yeah, I can't believe I just don't know what I'm getting from Purdue at this point. I thought they were going to be able to score a little bit last week. They were absolutely able to do absolutely nothing against Iowa.
And they scored on Penn State in week 1 too. It looked like their offense was going to
Yeah,
be really good, and then I don't know. They're better when they're underrated, when they're the underdog, and
yeah.
they came in with expectations this year, and they just fell flat, and that was, I guess, kind of predictable in hindsight. But yeah, they're just not as good as we thought they were going to be. Pretty
Still, they were
much.
they were 5-2 up until 2 weeks ago. Back to back losing weeks at Wisconsin. Again, they scored 24 points, so they were able to score. And then all of a sudden, last week home against Iowa, just 3 points. And to your point, letting Iowa score 24 on you, like that's insane. So yeah, I'm going back to the well with Illinois. I think they're a good. I think they're a good story. I like the team. I like what they've been able to do. I can't believe that they lost to Michigan State last week by double digits. To me, or no, not double digits. I guess 8 points. To me, that's crazy. We've been talking about Michigan State all season. But I think it's a bounce back spot for them. They're still ranked, 21st ranked team. They're at home, I think, against the inferior opponent, and it's only 6 points. So I like it. The public's on Illinois, which worries me a little bit. It's a 70-30 split right now on the spread. But for me, I don't know what I'm getting at Purdue. I think I know what I'm getting at Illinois. So I'm going to take Illinois -6 at home.
Yeah, I like that one. I think the under's an interesting one there too, because if Purdue couldn't score in Iowa, they're not gonna be able to score in Illinois either, I don't think. So it should be an ugly game.
Yeah,
But you figure if Illinois or if Iowa could score on Purdue, Illinois certainly will be able to with those running backs. So I don't know. Yeah, I for sure think Illinois should cover in that one. But that's an interesting game. Like you said, it's hard the money on Illinois there, but they're due for a bounce back win.
yeah. To your point, the over under being at 45, to me, that was a little too low. It was
Mm-hmm.
like 54 if it was flipped, and I would be like, okay. Because I do like, to your point, Illinois' defense pretty good. Purdue has been able to score, so even if you get 14 out of points
Those
at a
low,
Purdue,
yeah,
I'm worried about that under.
those low Big Ten totals, the under never hits,
I got one.
never does.
I got one coming up in a little bit, so I'm hoping one hits this weekend, but we'll
Yeah,
see. Before we get,
yeah, I don't want to spoil it for you. I
yeah,
have a guess at what it is
yeah,
because I was eyeing one, and I don't want to guess what yours is. But I have, of course, another low over under total as one of my best bets, but it's
okay,
not a Big Ten one.
okay. Well, let's go to it. Let's hear your second best bet of the weekend.
Well, it's the under in Notre Dame against Navy.
Okay,
After Army against Air Force, the under hit easily.
yeah,
I think I got to go back to a service academy under. Yeah, I know Notre Dame is not a service academy, but Notre Dame's offense isn't spectacular. And with their defense, I don't think Navy's going to score very much. And the game's going to be, possessions at a premium. It's a Navy football game. I don't think Notre Dame's going to have a lot of opportunities, or I know Notre Dame won't have a lot of opportunities to score because they're playing Navy. And unless they play a perfect game, they're not going to. The total's 39.5. So unless they play a perfect game, they're not scoring, 4 touchdowns. Unless, they got to get a defensive touchdown, maybe. I don't see it. Navy doesn't make mistakes like that. We know that.
yep.
Special teams, I don't know. They're not like an explosive team. I like the under here. Under 39.5 it is on DraftKings, correct?
Yep.
Yes. And maybe I'll go with Navy spread, but I don't like that enough to go best bet. I still
Yeah.
Navy look good, or they didn't look good last week, but they covered last week, I think, and I don't know about them covering. It is at home though, So you
It is
got
at
to think
home.
about it. It is at home and it's Notre Dame, and that's big for them. So you have to think about that.
Yeah, it's 15 points. Notre Dame in a tremendous letdown spot after last week beating Clemson. So I definitely could see that. 88% of the money on the spread is what made me stay away because 15 points for Navy, I felt like, to your point, possessions at a premium. That could be a good bet. Just the public is all over it, so it made me want to stay away.
88% on Navy?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
what I was like 88% on Notre Dame minus 15 on the road. No way.
No,
Okay.
yeah, Navy, which I thought it was going to be closer to 50-50. I don't know why it's so crazy heavy Navy, but, like I
It's
said,
just
could be a big
people
letdown spot.
like, I mean, I'll be honest, people like me, we see Navy plus 15 and we're like, wait a minute, it's Navy. But I mean, we've said this over the course of the pod, like, Navy just isn't that good anymore.
Yeah.
But, sometimes they do play just based on their system. They do play a game where they play out of their minds better than they should. And if they're going to do that, it's going to be at home against Notre Dame. You got to figure, right?
Yeah, I agree. And also, too, when the over-under is 40 or 39.5 and you're getting 15 or 16 points, to me, that's like a
Yeah.
no-brainer pick. You need to score one, maybe two times, and you should be covering. So, yeah, I like the pick. I like the under in that game. Like, I think, like, to your point, I think it's going to be a slugfest in that one. I think it also might be a slugfest in the Tulane game. I've been a Green Wave guy. I've been riding Tulane, and I'm doing it again this week. -1.5 at home, I believe, against UCF.
I hope they crush UCF.
It's kind of a spite pick. It's kind of a best bet pick. It's kind of riding with Tulane. It's a whole lot of things coming together for me. Tulane again ranked, I think, for the first time last week in a long time. They moved up to 17. I think it's the first top 20 ranking since the 2000s for Tulane. So, I mean, both teams are ranked. UCF ranked 22. So, I think Tulane, I've talked about the defense. I've talked about them a lot. I don't know if I need to keep going over it or not, but I think the defense is good. I love the jerseys at home, 8-1 right now in the American Conference. They're thinking they have big plans for this season. It all comes down to UCF. They have SMU and Cincinnati to finish out the season, so don't get me wrong. But this is the last ranked team on their schedule right now. UCF is just so up and down. I don't know what to make of them. So give me the green wave at home, Tulane -1.5.
Yeah, I like that one. Gus Malzahn in a big spot, especially on the road. I don't like it. So Tulane is the better team, I think. UCF got a little bit lucky this year, or a lot lucky, I think. I just don't think they're that. Maybe it's just because I hate them, but I also don't think that they're that good. I think Tulane's the better team. So
Yeah,
I like that pick.
3:30 kickoff too, not too early.
Mm-hmm.
Get the boys going. So, I think they're going to get up for this. And like I said, I think it's the first time they're ranked in so high, playing another ranked team, you got to come out strong. I think that defense is going to be ripping. So, we'll see. We'll see. What's your third and final best bet of Saturday?
I wanted to do one of the bigger games,
Okay.
but I couldn't pull the trigger on like LSU yet because so many people are on LSU after that one. I think I'm gonna take LSU, but I don't want to put it as a best bet.
Okay.
My my best bet, I'm going another under. My third best bet is the under in Cuse against Florida State. I don't know why it's at 51. I feel like people haven't been watching Syracuse's offense recently. Like first of all, they have their backup quarterback who's awful.
Yep.
We don't know yet if Schrader's playing. And I mean, all evidence is that he's not. And for some bizarre reason, they just don't give Sean Tucker the ball now. Like he barely touches the ball anymore. And I know Florida State just torched Miami. That's
Yeah.
probably why the total was that high. And Cuse is missing some guys on defense, but their defense is still good. It's better than Miami's defense anyway. So I don't know. I think 51 is too high. I know it's that high because of what Florida State just did against Miami, but I think that's 50 points is too high. I think it'll be a low scoring game probably. And Cuse will try and keep the ball out of Florida State's hands. No. I like the under 51.
Yeah, they're going to have to run the ball if that's the case. I agree. I think Florida State is another one of those up and down teams. Syracuse, I think, has been pretty steady. And unfortunately, when their quarterback got hurt, it hasn't been great the last, was it 2 weeks now? It's been the backup 2 weeks since the Clemson game.
He
So
got hurt in the Clemson game, but the Clemson game was already over by the time he got hurt, pretty much.
yeah, I don't know. I felt like they were hanging around a little bit, but
They were hanging around, but they got so many shit calls against them in that game. It's still annoying that pass interference call that went against them. Ugh,
yeah. So
that was
yeah,
brutal. That game was brutal.
I like it. Florida State, Jared Verse over there, the Albany transfer is now being touted as a first round pick in the NFL draft. Absolutely insane to hear that. I mean, led the conference
Albany.
last year in sacks, went to Florida State, is doing it at Florida State now, absolutely playing out of his mind. I'm staying away from this game. I'd probably lean Florida State, unfortunately, just because I think they're looking good. Even though, to your point, Syracuse is no Miami. Miami absolutely stinks. Syracuse has been pretty good. A lot of injuries, though, makes me a little worried. You're inside, so it's not that big that you're going up north to Syracuse from Florida State. So I'm with you. The under 51, I like that play. To your point, just got to run the ball, keep the ball out of each other's hands. Let the clock run out. My third and final pick, Chip, for my best bet. I could not stay away from the big games. I have to take them. And I'm trying to decide between two, and I'm having a tough time. So I'm going to look at the percentages one last time, and I'm going to lock in Georgia. Minus 16, minus 16.5, maybe, depending on where you're looking. On the road at Mississippi State, coming off a huge win against Tennessee. Tremendous letdown spot. This is another pick for me. That's a combination spite pick. I absolutely hate Mississippi State. I absolutely love Georgia. I've been riding with Georgia. They've been doing great. I don't really think that Tennessee game was really too close at all last week.
It was a lot. It was much more of a blowout than the final indicated.
Yeah, so I was never really sweating it too much. Georgia, I think, again this week just absolutely continues their hot streak. When you're playing in the SEC, you know that you have to come out strong in every single game. Minus 16.5 on the road scares me. But 80% of the money's on Mississippi State. To me, that makes no sense. Georgia is head and shoulders better than Mississippi State. I think they're going to absolutely roll. So give me Georgia minus 16.5.
If Georgia is the new Bama, which it looks like they are,
Yeah,
they're just going to come out and steamroll Mississippi State.
yeah,
Because we used to say this about Bama, like, oh, maybe this team has a shot. They'll dethrone Bama. And then Bama would just come out and curb stomp them. And then we used to say, oh, Bama just did that. Well, maybe they'll have a letdown game. And Bama would curb stomp the team that they were supposed to have the letdown game against. And I think Georgia's just going to be the new Bama and start doing. I mean, Kirby Smart learned how to be the new Bama from the guy who is Bama.
yeah.
And I'm not saying like Saban's done or he's washed or any of that nonsense that some people are saying. But I think Georgia they have it. Yeah. And he's just going to kick the crap out of everybody. And Mississippi State's no, it's Mississippi State. Come on.
Yeah, I think the big thing for Georgia, the big question marks too, was like what their coordinator leaving, going to Oregon, going into the season. And then that defense losing so many players to the freaking first round of the NFL. They look like they were able to reload. They look like they haven't skipped a beat. I'm riding with Georgia. I think they're going to walk right to the national championship. Maybe it's going to be a dogfight when they get there, but I haven't seen any other team that I think can really contend with Georgia at this point. Nobody's impressed me like Georgia's impressed me this season.
Now they're going to play Tennessee again in the college football playoff. That's going to be the 1-4 matchup.
That would be insane.
That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean,
because somebody has to lose the Michigan-Ohio State game.
Somebody does. That's true.
So it's
Georgia's going to be the SEC East, so they're going to play someone from the SEC West. I don't know who that's going to be.
Well, if TCU loses to Texas tomorrow on Saturday, then they're donezo.
Yeah, so let's get into the slate because this college football playoff is shaping up real crazy. So let's start back up at the noon games. Let's start with my first pick of the day after my best bets. Dude, I like West Virginia +8 at home. All the money is on whoever they're playing. I don't have it in front of me right this second. I'll scroll back up. Oklahoma. Yes, that's right. Thank you. Mm-hmm. I hate Oklahoma. I had my line in the sand game. They absolutely puked all over themselves. So I like West Virginia. I've taken them a couple times this year. Haven't been betting them every week. Haven't been watching them every week. But a home team getting 8 points against a team like Oklahoma, I just don't see it. 65% of the money's on Oklahoma. 35% of the money's on West Virginia. I love that I'm fading the public a little bit. The over is being bet 70-30 split to 67. I like that. So points are going to be scored. You're getting 8 points. You're getting a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. I think West Virginia hangs. Maybe they went outright, but either way, you got touchdown and 2 points right there with 8.
Yeah, I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna take West Virginia there +8. I've bet them a couple times this year. I like them, and Oklahoma has just been a complete disaster, whether it's on the road or at home. They're a nightmare. So yeah, what's that? That's a noon game.
It's a
FS1. Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, I think just Morgantown's gonna be buzzing. Oklahoma on the road, I just don't see it. So, what do you got? You got any noon games picked out that you're gonna be betting?
Other than the ones I already said, I'm for sure looking at Rutgers, Michigan State,
Okay.
and I like, I like Rutgers in the game, but everybody's betting Rutgers. I was surprised. Like it's what's it, 9.5 now?
Yep.
Everybody's betting Rutgers, which kind of makes me nervous. I want to bet against Michigan State and I want to take Rutgers. I'm not going to bet Michigan State, but I may have to lean the total instead
Okay.
and go over. I believe it's at 40.5 now,
Yep.
right? Yeah. So I kind of want to take Rutgers and the over, but I don't know. I may just go over. Nah, you know what? I'll just go over because the fact there shouldn't be if I was being unbiased and it was just two random teams and it was like a team with Rutgers resume, yeah, and there was that much of the money on a team with Rutgers resume, I'd be like, why is that much money on them? There should never be that much money on them, and I fade them.
Yep.
So I have to go with the over.
I like that. Like, I think Michigan State showed a little life last week, or I think Rutgers last week in the first half against Michigan had it going a little bit, and they obviously, got the doors blown off them in the second half. But 40.5, that's doable for these teams. Neither of them, I think, are great on offense, but again, you're talking about 21-20. That could happen.
Those low Big Ten totals, man. Maybe it's just when I bet on them, the under never hits, but I feel like
Yeah.
they all like maybe it's the Iowa ones, but it's like, man, they never hit. They always just get a little bit over.
I agree. It's close, but yeah, they usually hit the over. I'm with you on that. My last noon game, don't have a ton of noon games. I hate this pick so much, but I am taking it. 86% of the money is on Tennessee, minus 20.5 at home against Missouri. I just think this is a tremendous bounce back spot for Tennessee. I think if they're going to stay in the conversation, because they're not going to be playing the SEC championship unless Georgia falters, they need to absolutely kill these bad teams. Missouri, I think, showed a little life, but last week wasn't so good. They've been down a little bit the last 2 weeks. I just think Tennessee absolutely rolls here in a bounce back spot. They score 60 points this game, maybe.
Really? I don't know.
I think so.
I don't know about that. I was thinking Missouri first half. It's at probably like +10 or something.
You think
plus
Tennessee's
80.
going to come out slow, or you think Missouri's just better than what I'm saying?
I think Tennessee might come out slow, but I don't know if they're going to come out and steamroll them. Like, I don't know. Georgia is that good. We saw that against Oregon.
Yeah.
But shit, man. I don't know. This is not like a typical Tennessee team where they're just going to blow it, but no, I don't know if after what we saw last week, I don't know if I'm willing to be like, oh, they're going to come out now and just crush a team by 3 touchdowns. I don't know if I'm that confident.
I might be taking the first half too at Tennessee because, to your point, to me, the first half of this game tells you everything you needed to know about Tennessee. If they come out slow and they're lollygagging and it's tied at halftime or they're up 3 at halftime or whatever it is, these guys don't think they can win a championship. If they come out and they're firing and they score 3 touchdowns in the first half, 4 touchdowns in the first half, and are just getting explosive plays, they believe in themselves. I forget their coach is Heupel. He's got the boys going. To me, it just really comes down to this first half. Now they talk about it. So, follow us, Winning P Weekly on Twitter. And, we'll be tweeting out all our picks. John's not able to get with us tonight, but he'll have all his picks out there. He's been doing really good. So follow us on Twitter. Let us know what you're taking so we could talk about it. We could chop it up. I know over
First
the course...
half spread in Tennessee is 10.5, by the way.
10.5.
And 7 is the first quarter spread, which I don't know.
I might bet all 3 of those just because it's right. It's now or I really do think it's do or die. For Tennessee, they have to come out strong and they have to beat this team bad if they're gonna have a shot.
I got to start trying something different, so may have to go with the first quarter spreads.
Yeah,
just to see how that works.
All right, that's the end of my noon slate. You got any other noon games?
I don't think so. I think I may the over in SMU South Florida. It's like 72.5. It looks so enticing after what SMU scored like 1,000 points the last time they played. But I don't know, 72.5. Again, that's like the Big Ten unders that never hit. Those giant overs never hit either. Like you always want to take them and they never hit. So I think I'm gonna back off that. I
take the under. Take the under. You've been you're becoming an under boy.
I can't take the under in a 72.5 total. And then
I got an under for you later. Don't let me forget.
Okay. This is a for sure, whatever you want to call it, a spite pick, hate pick. Just I hate Pitt, and I like being a Virginia person now, but I don't know. I think I'm gonna stick with Virginia, and I'm taking Virginia plus 4.5. I think at home against Pitt, 4.5 on DraftKings. Yes.
Yep.
And look, it is partially spite. I just don't like Pitt. I don't like their coach. But Virginia has also been good for me when I bet them. Select times I bet them. I think there's too much money on Pitt for. I know Virginia's not a great team or anything. I just think there's no game where Pitt should be getting that much money.
Yeah, I'm
mostly
with you.
fading the public, fading Pitt.
I'm with you on that. The money and the spread stood out to me when I saw this. 86% of the money on Pitt at minus 4.5. So you're getting, the full field goal and a hook and an extra point if you're Virginia. I was just kind of embarrassed to take Virginia. I didn't know what you were going to say about Virginia. So I was like, maybe I'll stay away from this.
No, I like Virginia.
But
I love their quarterback. I love Armstrong.
Yeah, so I'm riding with you. I'll take Virginia plus 4.5. Like I said, it did stick out to me a little bit. 86% of the money on Pittsburgh should never happen. That's just crazy. So let's get to our 3 o'clock slate. We talked about unders and overs. We talked about Big Ten unders. I will be taking and rooting and living my best life when Iowa goes under 35 points this weekend. I don't know what happened last weekend with their offense. I do not think it's repeatable. I love the Iowa defense. 35 points is low, man. That's a low total, but I'm an unders guy. I live for the thrill of an under, and I'm going for it. I'm taking the under 35 in Iowa, Wisconsin. I think it's going to be gloomy. I think it's going to be slight rain. It's going to be classic Big Ten football. I don't think either of these teams are very good on offense. I think both of them play good defense. Give me the under 35.
What a dud of a game that is going to be. Iowa, Wisconsin. Unless you like defense, I get.
Dude, when you bet the unders, like you got, I'm trying to change people's minds. When you bet the unders, I'm standing up and I'm clapping. I'm like, let's go when we're punting. Like a punt is a big play when you're betting under 35.5 or under 35. That's as equivalent. A punt's like equivalent to like a 60-yard completion when you have the over. That's exciting stuff. So I think there's going to be a lot of punts. I think there's going to be a lot of punts in this game. I'm hoping for it. So give me Iowa under 35.
Definitely going to be elite punting matchup.
Yeah.
Wisconsin.
Yeah, give me a 3 o'clock game you got.
Well, this is another fade the public game, and I just don't really understand this one. Appalachian State is favored against Marshall by -1. I don't really get that. Appalachian State really hasn't been that impressive since they beat Texas A&M.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't understand. And they're favored by 1 against Marshall. Again, Marshall hasn't been great. but they have the same record. They're 5-4. So I'm going to take Marshall money line. I'm not going to bet him +1. I'm going to take a money line, and a strong majority of the money here is on App State. So I just don't get that. I'm going with Marshall. They're at home. I know, yeah. App State just lost to Coastal, and now Grayson McCall's out, of course. For a long
Yeah.
time, I was going to take Coastal too, but now I don't like that pick too much. But yeah, I'm taking Marshall money line.
Yeah, I'm with you. 90% of the money on the money line bets are on App State. 88% of the money on spread picks. I mean, to your point, it's crazy. You're taking a home team and a pick 'em where 90% of the money is on the other team. I don't think App State is head and shoulders better than Marshall. I think both teams have been down. So why not take the home team? I'm with you in that. And you're fading the public pretty heavy. So I like that. Speaking of fading the public pretty heavy, Chip, I'm going back to the well with Maryland. I'm taking Maryland +10 on the road
Oh,
against Penn
God.
State. I might be sick. I might be twisted. I might be losing all my money. But,
Jeez,
dude,
dude.
I love Maryland this week against Penn State. I'm not impressed with Penn State, offense or defense. Last time I had Penn State at home that I can remember, it was against Northwestern, and they absolutely stunk. I'm going Maryland. 10 points, a lot of points in Big Ten football. I think they're going to be able to get it going. I love the running back there. Obviously, talked about the passing game. 10 points, baby. I'll take
Talia's healthy. Talia's healthy and he's playing.
it. I think so. I'll double check that right now. But I believe he was, at least last I saw.
Yeah.
But either way, I like the running back that they have there.
Oh,
I
I mean, I
like Penn
get it. I
State.
mean, I'm not confident in Penn State's offense at all. So I don't blame you. I know you like and I know you like Maryland all year, but I don't know. There's like I mean, we when we did our Big Ten preview, I said it. There's just some. They're so inconsistent, and they were talking the Barstool College Football Show. They were talking about the coaches who might get fired next year, and they brought up Maryland's coach. Like if he has like another like uneven season like this one, he could get let go. I think he's a Saban guy, by the way, too, which is
Yeah, I'm trying to
upset.
find our preseason things to find what the over under was for Maryland on the year. Because I know
It was probably like 6.5 or something, right?
it was 5.5. They're at 6
Yeah.
wins already. So
I think they expected more than 6 wins, though, because they made a bowl last year.
yeah, yeah. And it's Tua's last year, right? Or not Tua, Talia's last
Oh,
year.
yeah.
So I don't know what the plan is at quarterback moving forward. I think Talia was out 1 week or for part of one game. It didn't look too great. They relied on Hempy there for the running plays. He's been really good, dude. I love the jerseys. I don't like Penn State. It's a combination of liking Maryland, fading Penn State. 80% of the money's on Penn State. I think that's crazy. So give me Maryland. Big time fade the public play here.
Yeah, I like it.
95% of the money's on the under 59. So again, I like when people are thinking it's going to go under, I like getting 10 points.
All that money on the under?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like an over in the Big Ten. So I've learned that from betting Ohio State games.
Yeah.
I'm not doing overs in the Big Ten.
All right, give me another 3 o'clock pick.
3 o'clock. Should I just? Oh shit. Was just on it. Oh, Miami against Georgia Tech is what I was looking at.
How
Uh,
disrespectful is that line?
the I don't I have it as a pick'em now,
Yeah. Yeah, I think it is pick 'em.
which is I mean, if you had told Miami that they would be a pick'em against Georgia Tech in week 11, what do you think they would have said?
They would have arrested you on the spot. You can't talk like
That's
that about Miami football down in Miami.
wow.
And here we are.
It and it's at home, by the way. Georgia Tech's at home,
Yeah.
and it's a pick'em. I like Georgia Tech after what I've seen from Miami. I'm taking Georgia Tech in this game.
It's crazy. It's crazy to think about, but yeah, it's a pick 'em. at this point. I can't imagine
Like,
what the preseason line was.
is it? I mean, obviously we're not giving up on Mario Cristobal as like a top coach or anything, but he's done a great job recruiting, so he's going to get another year to bring in his own guys. But Jesus Christ, what a shit show!
It's insane, and it's just so funny. I'm bringing up the guy that I had in the beginning of the season to see what their preseason spread was. So many people had Miami to win
Of
this,
course.
at least their side of the ACC. Preseason, it was projected to be 16 points. 16-point difference between what they thought preseason where we're at now. I mean, crazy where we're at. I'm not touching the game. Both these teams stink. But to your point, pick 'em game again. You're taking the home team. Kind of same thing you were thinking about with Marshall there.
Yeah,
I don't hate
and
it.
yeah, it's fading the U too. I guess. I mean, I think they just stink. Not that Georgia Tech's great or anything, but taking the home team, and I think that man, those fans are gonna be going nuts, right? You would think playing Miami when they know how beatable they are right now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Um,
they don't care that Miami stinks. It's still a chance to beat Miami at home.
and Miami fans don't care when they're good. So right now they're not gonna travel. They don't
Yeah,
care. It's gonna be all Georgia Tech fans there.
that's true.
And I want the two other 3:30 games like that I was looking at, like Boston College, North Carolina State. I love fading Boston College, but North Carolina State's favored by 18.
Crazy. What
Like
do you think about that game?
I that just feels like I can't go on that with the way North Carolina State has looked. Boston College has looked so inept, so bad. But North Carolina State, with their backup quarterback, their offense is awful. And I can't do it. And I thought about taking Boston College even, but they've been atrocious. So I had to lay off that one. And the other one, I don't know, you didn't mention it, and I was surprised, was Nebraska against Michigan.
Yeah,
And I thought about Nebraska plus 30.5 because Michigan minus 30.5 is a lot. And I think I may go Nebraska first half because I could see Michigan starting out slow again, like they did last week. And maybe, I don't know, Nebraska has a decent first half. And, Nebraska 18.5 in the first half. But I haven't, that's maybe not a great pick, but I do love Ole Miss at home. Ole Miss against Alabama plus 11.5. I know it's Bama, but it's not Bama. You know,
yeah.
like I never thought like we'd be fading Nick Saban, but damn, man,
What's the saying? You don't get rich betting against Alabama. Well, you do this season.
shit.
You make a lot of money. You made a
And you know
lot of
what? The
money if you
last
bet
the
against them.
last 2 years they haven't been good against the spread.
Yeah. It's definitely caught up to him for sure. For this game, I like the under 64.5. I think both these teams just are a little timid. I think they're kind of licking their wounds a little bit. I'm not really impressed with either of the teams at this point. I don't know what Ole Miss is. Is Ole Miss a running team, passing team? Do they play defense? Who are they? What do you expect from them? So 64.5 with 2, I think is just a lot of points. I get that it's SEC football, so chances are a lot of points are going to be scored. But still, you need a 40 to 30, 30 game to get this over. I think that's just a lot of points for both these teams at this point. I've been saying it the last few weeks with Bama, and I still take them. I'm an idiot. They just don't have the horses, man. They don't have the teams that they've had in previous years. They don't have the wide receivers, that's for sure. So they're just not able to get it done. And you've seen it week after week now, the last 3 or 4 weeks with Bama.
Yeah, you said that a bunch of times now. You
Yeah.
said that pretty much. I feel like you say that every week on the podcast, and it's just the most basic and easy and accurate Bama point. They don't have the wide receivers. They
Yeah.
have Gibbs at running back, but they used to have like 2 or 3 running backs every year. And they
Yeah.
used to have the same thing at wide receiver every year. And I saying every year like it wasn't like that 3 years ago, which it was 3 years ago. And I'm sure they'll get back to that level again. But for this year right now, they just don't have that oh God, I heard who was the wide receiver who won the Heisman Trophy?
Smith.
Smith, yeah.
Yeah.
They don't have that guy on the team right now.
Yeah, I mean, and along with Smith was what Menchie, who was like a first or second round pick,
Hmm.
obviously out for the year, but he's going to be great. And they had two other wide receivers that were studs with them too. I mean, they were fully loaded. The list goes on and on. Um, it's just not the same. It's unfortunate. It's just not the same because obviously would love to see Bama playing at a high level with all these teams. But speaking of playing at a high level, we did not see it from Clemson last week. I think they're bouncing back. I could be wrong. It's
I've been
partly
wrong about Louisville all year,
it's
so
partly because I hate Louisville. It's a combination of everything. But Clemson -7, I believe at home against Louisville. Yeah, at home, big bounce back spot for them. They frankly got embarrassed last week at Notre Dame. Maybe they have a QB issue. Maybe they don't. I don't know. I think DJ was looking pretty good the last few weeks leading up to that game, and they just couldn't get it going last week. So I think they bounce back. 7 points at home shouldn't be too much for Clemson. I think they cover the number.
I've been wrong about. I was right about Clemson. I think we were all right. They're just not that good. But I've been wrong about Louisville all year.
Yeah.
So I don't know what Louisville team we're getting in that game. I wouldn't feel comfortable betting on either one of those teams.
All right, let's move to the 7 o'clock slate, Chip. And I'll kick us off here. This is my John Meleka pick of the week. Jay Meleka on Twitter. You can follow. You can like, comment on all his picks as well. Winning P Weekly on Twitter. Chip Murphy 7. I'm rocking with Bo Nix. I'm going Oregon -13 at home. They have to win. They have to win big if they're going to be in this conversation for national championship contention. It's crazy where they're at now from where they were week 0, I guess technically. But John's been right about that from the beginning. They can look bad week 0 and put out a good season the rest of the year. They might run the table the rest of the season. And I think they're right there with it, man. I think they're as good as anyone. I think the offense looks good. The defense is pretty good, too. They're at home, so you're not worried about Bo Nix on the road. And, yeah, give me Oregon -13 to start off the 7 o'clock slate.
Did they cover last week?
Oregon, let's see. Also, too, it's a little bit of a fade on Washington. I hate Washington.
They really let me down since that Michigan State game.
Last week, yep, it was 31.5 was the spread. They won 49-10 at Colorado.
Okay. Yeah. No, I'm taking them. I'm gonna tail you and John. So I'm definitely not. I'm not definitely not gonna be the only one who bets against Oregon, especially when Washington has just looked so unimpressive for a while.
Yeah, both these teams are Oregon's 4-1 against the spread in the last 5 games. Washington's 3-2 in the last 5 games. So, but they're also 0-3 in their last 3 road games. So, haven't been great on the road. Really up and down season for Washington. Oregon though, steady cruising at the top of the Pac-12. So, give me Oregon -13. What do you got for a 7 o'clock pick, Chip?
Well, I mean, the game of the day is TCU Texas.
Yep.
And this is a bizarre one, man.
It's weird.
The undefeated team is a touchdown underdog. I know they're on the road, but they're undefeated. I mean, I guess it just showed like they're top 4 in the country playoff ranking. And maybe it just shows how little disrespect we have for them as bettors, or not us in particular, but maybe it just shows everybody's running to bet Texas. But
Texas is back. John called it last week. Texas was in a great spot last week to start rounding off wins and they'll finish the season. Oh, Texas is back. Texas is back. They won handedly last week. It seems like they're going to do it again this week. -7. I can't believe it. What do you like in this game?
I don't want to bet on Texas because they have let you down when you bet on them.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But why are they touchdown favorites against the number 4 team in the country at home? I gotta bet them. I gotta bet them. It feels like Vegas. No, it's a Vegas knows something game.
Yeah.
Why? What's going on here?
We said it. I think we said it last week or the week before. You're doing it. I don't have the stomach to do it, but it's one of these games. We talk about it. My point of reference is Michigan State at Washington early in the season when the spread made absolutely no sense. When the spreads make absolutely no sense, you have to take them because if Vegas just knows something is up. It doesn't make sense. You have to take it.
But that spread was like 3.5. This is 7.
Yeah, this is 7.
What did this? I mean,
Let me check the
shit.
money on it. I think the reason why I'm staying away from it is the money. I think it was just a lot of it is on Texas, which again, it's a weird spread. 78% of the money.
It's a lot of Texas fans betting on Texas, right?
That's true. That's a good point. I'm going a different way with it because to your point, I think it's the game of the weekend. Maybe not. Maybe
Oh, it has to be.
Yeah,
Right?
I mean TCU going for the
I mean,
undefeated.
if TCU loses their season as a playoff team, it's over. So it's huge. It's massive implications.
That's a good point. I'm fading the public though, Chip. I'm going under. I think I see it at 65 now.
Okay.
83% of the money is on the over. I love the under here. It's just simply fade the public play and the big game that everyone's going to be watching. Yeah, give me the under 65. Not too much analysis on it besides, to your point, with the spread already, it seems like it's going to be a weird game. Something's up. Everyone's betting the over. I'm just taking the under. I think it's going to be a little bit low scoring. TCU is one of those weird teams too where I feel like they kind of start slow and then they get it rocking and they get it rolling. You can't do that week in and week out. Eventually, one week it's not going to be there. It seems like Vegas thinks it's this week against Texas. That's why they made the line 7 points. I got another over. I actually got over unders the rest of the way. I like the over in K-State. Kansas State is playing. Who are they playing? Baylor. 52.5. I think just a little low.
Weird one. I guess Kansas State hasn't looked awesome recently, but
yeah, they haven't. But and Baylor's had an up and down weird year. Both these teams are 6-3 at this point. But I think Kansas State's another one of those teams. Is that Martinez is their quarterback over there?
Mm-hmm.
That's another team that I think starts a little slow, but they get it going, man. The last 5 games for Baylor have gone over. And then K-State, they've been mixing and matching. They go over, under, over, under. Last week was an over. I just think that it's right for them to get back on an over streak here to finish out the season. I think both these teams can score. I think the defenses are okay, but not tremendous. Baylor gave up 35 points to Oklahoma last week. I don't expect too much from Baylor's defense, where prior I thought Baylor's defense was okay. But at this point of the season, I think 52 is just too low of a number for these teams. I like the over in that one, 52.5.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I honestly I don't know too much about Baylor. So if you take the over there, I like the over there. I don't know too much about Baylor. For whatever reason, I haven't followed them too much this year. I guess because I wasn't in on them at the beginning of the year. But I like what I've seen from K-State. I'm surprised they're dogs in this game.
Yeah, I've been watching.
I know they lost last week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you give me the over in that. What else you got for the 7 o'clock slate?
I think just 2 more and I'm done. I know I got Wake. That's another maybe not as unexplainable, but Wake's not ranked anymore and they've looked bad recently. And Carolina is now ranked. They're 15th and Wake is at home and they're at home, so that helps, but they're 4-point favorites against Carolina. And the total is astronomical. It's 77. That's about as high as you'll see in an ACC game or in any major conference, Power 5 conference game, whatever you want to call it. It's going to be a shootout, obviously, with those 2 quarterbacks. It's going to be a fun game to watch. I like Wake. I know they haven't looked good recently. I think they'll score a lot of points. Carolina will too. Tempted to, again, you got that high over. You're tempted to take high total. You're tempted to take the over. I am. Maybe at some point I will. But I'm definitely taking Wake. And I'm looking at Auburn against A&M. And I'm like, you know what? I won. Auburn got the fired head coach bump
Mm.
last week, and they covered. And you know what? I think they're riding it again, and they got the Jimbo Fisher is a bump this week. I think at home those fans are going to be rocking because they want to just put another nail into Jimbo and Texas A&M's season's coffin. I think they are smelling blood in the water. I like Auburn. I hate that I'm taking two favorites here, but man, God, this is just like the Miami thing. If you had told A&M preseason that they'd be dogs against Auburn right now, holy Christ. So yeah, I'm going Auburn. It's 1.5 on DraftKings right now. Maybe it'll change, but yeah, I like those are my last two. I think Auburn and Wake. Unfortunately, by the way, Coastal Grayson McCall is out, but Coastal is still favored by 5 against Southern Miss. I don't even know who their backup quarterback is, but
I know I saw that, and the reason why I saw that is because 90% of the money is on Southern Miss, probably rightfully so.
that but why are they favored?
Yeah, right.
Like
I mean, I think the line dropped. I think it was 10. Now it's down to
I'm
4.
sure, I'm sure,
So I mean,
I'm
like
sure it
how
was
many points is
huge.
your quarterback worth? I mean,
Well, he's worth a lot to them.
well, yeah. So yeah, I'm with you. Southern Miss is intriguing for sure. It's down 6 points already. Maybe it gets closer to a pick 'em by game time once people catch on.
Well, I feel like maybe the under is a good one because Coastal's offense is, but I think people think maybe it's such a system that maybe the backup quarterback will just come in and just let it up too, but not like McCall. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know. It's a weird one.
Last two picks from me, Chip. You talked about Wake Forest UNC. 77 points is an absolutely atrocious number, an incredible
Mhm.
number. I am taking the under 77. That is my head. I have the under in Iowa. I have the under in this game. I am trying to take the claim of the under king and win these
Ugh,
under picks. I will be putting in an unders parlay.
terrible claim.
You can find it on Winning P Weekly on Twitter. I will be putting that out this weekend because I love the unders. To score 77, you need 20 points a quarter. That's all I'm hoping for, not 3 touchdowns a quarter. I don't think that's too much to ask. So a couple punts here, maybe a turnover here or there. That's all I need. And then my other one, we haven't talked about him yet, but I love the under in Texas Tech versus Kansas.
I
99%
can't
of
believe
the
we're
money.
still. Whoa, shit! Really?
99% of the money. 90% of the bets is on the over 64. Simply fade the public. I think I like Texas Tech. I like Kansas. I've bet them. I've won and lost with both those teams. 64 points. There's a lot of points. I don't think Texas Tech's offense has been incredible the last few weeks. I'll check myself real quick on that, but I don't think it's
I'm more
been.
confident. Like I don't like the bad defense overs. That's because that's what Wake and North Carolina's is. That's
Yeah,
bad defense overs. Too obviously their offenses are good, but it's like what if one of their defenses actually has a good game somehow and like gets a pick or a fumble or something? You're taking a risk there. So I get that. But yeah, I guess the Texas Tech. Like I can't believe we're still talking about Texas Tech on this podcast. Yeah.
oh, I love them.
Like
I won that
after
one
that
bet.
after that Texas game. We're the only people still left talking about Texas Tech. But hey, I'm talking about Cuse every week.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it's something. So, yeah, I mean, that wraps it up for us. I don't have anything in the
mhm.
10 o'clock slate.
No,
We went
I
over our
never
best
do.
bets. Thank you guys for tuning in. Again, he's Chip Murphy7 on Twitter. We are Winning P Weekly. We'll be tweeting out our picks. We got Maction going. John's been taking hockey. I took baseball when the World Series was going on. We bet everything. So follow us on Twitter, like and
College
subscribe.
basketball. We're gonna put out
Oh,
some college basketball picks.
college.
College basketball season starting up.
John's already sending in the group chat his World Cup
Mhm.
picks, so we'll be tweeting those out for sure.
Oh my
Ag-
god, yeah. I
Again,
gotta
you can
put those
follow
in.
us, Knicks, Jets, etc. on YouTube. We have our own channel there, our own playlist, Winning Picks Weekly on Twitter. You can find us on there. Let us know what you're taking this weekend, and we'll see you guys next week.